The morning sun painted Manhattan in shades of gold and silver as Benjamin. Sterling stood at his office window on the 42nd floor. His reflection stared back at him, a man who had everything the world said mattered. At 38, he had built Sterling Technologies from a college dorm room idea into a billion-dollar empire. His suits were custom-tailored. His penthouse overlooked Central Park. His name appeared regularly in business magazines as one of the most successful tech entrepreneurs of his generation, yet something hollow lived inside him, a space that no amount of success seemed to fill. Rachel Park, his executive assistant, appeared in the doorway with her usual morning efficiency. She had worked for him for 6 years and knew his schedule better than he did. Benjamin trusted her judgment completely. "Your 9 o'clock with the investors from Singapore went well," Rachel said, reviewing her tablet. "They're ready to move forward with the partnership. The legal team needs your signature on 3 contracts by noon. And there's a new inquiry from a consulting firm about the expansion project in Boston."
Oh?
Benjamin nodded absently, his mind already calculating numbers and timelines. The Boston expansion was his latest ambition, a massive undertaking that would cement Sterling Technologies' position as the industry leader. He had been searching for the right consulting team for months. "Who's the firm?" he asked, moving to his desk. "It's Morrison Strategic Solutions. They came highly recommended by the board. The founder wants to discuss the project personally. She's calling at 10. Benjamin glanced at his watch. 15 minutes. Enough time to review the preliminary files Rachel had prepared. He settled into his leather chair and began reading, impressed despite himself. Morrison Strategic Solutions had an outstanding track record. Their approach was innovative, thorough, exactly what he needed. At exactly 10 o'clock, his phone buzzed. Rachel's voice came through the intercom. "Mr. Sterling, I have Ms. Morrison on the line for you." "Put her through." There was a click, a moment of silence, and then a voice spoke that made Benjamin's entire world tilt on its axis. "Hello, Benjamin. It's been a long time." The reports in his hands slipped through suddenly nerveless fingers, scattering across his desk. His heart hammered against his ribs. His mouth went dry. That voice carried 15 years of memories, 15 years of guilt he had buried under layers of ambition and success. "Olivia," her name came out barely above a whisper.
Yes.
"Olivia Morrison. Though I suppose you remember me as Olivia Chen before I took back my mother's maiden name." Benjamin's hand gripped the phone so tightly his knuckles turned white. Olivia. His Olivia. The woman he had loved with desperate intensity in his 20s. The woman he had left behind in their small hometown when Silicon Valley came calling with promises of fortune and fame. The woman whose face still haunted his dreams on nights when success felt particularly empty. "I don't understand," he managed. "Your Morrison Strategic Solutions? I built it from nothing. Much like you built Sterling Technologies, I imagine. Funny how life works out." Her voice was professional, controlled, but Benjamin detected something underneath. An edge sharp enough to cut. He deserved that sharpness. He deserved far worse. "The board recommended you," he said stupidly, stating the obvious because his brain had stopped functioning properly. "I'm very good at what I do. Your expansion project is ambitious. You need someone who can navigate the complexities involved. That's my specialty." Benjamin stood up, unable to sit still. He paced to the window, phone pressed to his ear, trying to process this impossible situation. Olivia. Here now. After all these years of wondering where she was, if she was happy, if she ever thought of him. "How did you know it was my company?" The question tumbled out. There was a pause. When Olivia spoke again, her voice carried a weight of old pain. "I've always known where you were, Benjamin. Your success story is hard to miss. Tech magazines love you. Business journals feature you constantly. You're everywhere I look, a reminder of the man who promised me forever and delivered goodbye instead." The words hit him like physical blows. Benjamin leaned his forehead against the cool glass, closing his eyes. "Live, I Ms. Morrison, in a professional setting, please. And before you apologize, don't. We're adults. What happened between us was 15 years ago. Ancient history. I'm calling about business. nothing more. But her voice betrayed her. Benjamin heard the tremble she tried to hide, the emotion lurking beneath the professional facade. She wasn't as unaffected as she pretended. Why now? If you knew about my company all along, why reach out now? Another pause. Longer this time. When Olivia answered, her honesty surprised him. Because I'm the best at what I do, and I've worked too hard to let personal history limit my professional opportunities. Your project needs someone like me. My firm needs a client like Sterling Technologies. We're both adults capable of separating business from the past. Are we? Benjamin challenged softly. Because I'm not sure I can sit in a conference room with you and pretend the past doesn't exist. Then I suppose you need to decide what matters more. Your expansion plans, or your discomfort. I'll give you 24 hours to think about it. If you want to move forward, have your assistant contact mine with meeting details. If not, I'll understand perfectly. Wait. Goodbye, Benjamin. The line went dead. Benjamin stood frozen, staring at the phone in his hand. His reflection in the window showed a man who looked shell-shocked, like someone had just detonated a bomb in his carefully ordered life. Rachel appeared in the doorway, concern etched on her face. Mr. Sterling, are you all right? You look like you've seen a ghost. A ghost. Yes, that was exactly what this was. The ghost of his past. The ghost of who he used to be before ambition hardened him into someone unrecognizable. Cancel my afternoon meetings, he said, his voice rough. Rachel's eyebrows rose. Benjamin never canceled meetings. All of them. All of them. I need to think. After Rachel left, Benjamin sank into his chair and stared at nothing. His mind replayed the conversation over and over, dissecting every word, every nuance of Olivia's voice. She had sounded strong, successful, nothing like the heartbroken girl he had left crying at the train station 15 years ago. He had been 23 then. Fresh out of graduate school with a job offer from a startup in California that promised equity and opportunity. Olivia had been 21, finishing her business degree at their local college. They had been together since high school, inseparable, planning a future that included marriage and children and growing old. Together in the town where they were born, then ambition whispered in his ear. The startup became successful quickly, demanding all his time and energy. Long-distance relationships were difficult. Olivia wanted him to come home. He wanted her to move to California. Neither would compromise. The arguments grew heated. The silences grew longer. Finally, on a cold November night during one of his rare visits home, Benjamin had made the choice that defined his next 15 years. He chose his career. He told Olivia he couldn't do both, couldn't build an empire and maintain a relationship that required more than he could give. He still remembered her face when he said goodbye, the devastation in her eyes, the way she had stood perfectly still while he walked away, as if moving would shatter her into pieces. Benjamin had thrown himself into work after that, burying the guilt and heartbreak under 18-hour days and relentless ambition. He told himself it was necessary, that success required sacrifice. He built his company into something magnificent and convinced himself he had made the right choice. But now, hearing Olivia's voice after 15 years, Benjamin realized the truth he had been avoiding. Success meant nothing without someone to share it with. All his achievements were hollow victories celebrated alone. His phone buzzed with a text from Thomas Reed, his business partner and closest friend. The only person who knew the whole story about Olivia Thomas had been there that night. Benjamin came back from ending things. Thomas had watched him drink himself into oblivion and listened to him swear it was for the best. Thomas had never quite believed him. The text was simple. Heard about the call. You okay? Benjamin stared at the message. Was he okay? No, he wasn't okay. He was shaken to his core, confronted with the ghost of his greatest mistake, forced to face the man he had become. He typed back, "She's alive. She's successful. She sounds like she hates me." Thomas's reply came quickly. "Does she have good reason to?" Benjamin dropped the phone and buried his face in his hands. Yes, Olivia had excellent reason to hate him. He had promised her everything and delivered abandonment. He had chosen money and status over love and loyalty. The afternoon sun moved across his office while Benjamin sat motionless, wrestling with questions that had no easy answers. Should he accept her professional offer and risk reopening old wounds? Should he decline and lose the chance to see her again, to possibly make amends? By the time evening painted the city in twilight colors, Benjamin had made his decision. He would work with her. He would face the past he had been running from for 15 years. He would look into Olivia's eyes and accept whatever hatred she felt for him because maybe, just maybe, facing the consequences of his choices would finally fill that hollow space inside him that success never could. The conference room at Sterling Technologies felt smaller than usual, as if the walls were closing in on Benjamin. He had arrived 30 minutes early, something he never did, pacing the length of the room while Rachel set up presentation equipment with practiced efficiency. Rachel noticed his unusual nervousness, but said nothing. She'd worked with him long enough to know when silence was the better choice. Benjamin checked his reflection in the polished window for the third time, straightening a tie that didn't. Needs straightening, running a hand through hair that was already perfectly in place. Thomas appeared in the doorway, 2 cups of coffee in his hands. He offered one to Benjamin with a knowing look. They had been friends since their college days. Through every triumph and failure, every poor decision and late-night revelation. Breathing would help, Thomas said quietly. You look like you're about to face a firing squad. Benjamin took the coffee, grateful for something to do with his hands. Maybe I am. I destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me, Thomas. Now she's walking through that door in 10 minutes and I have no idea what to say. Start with hello, and let the business conversation guide things. You're overthinking this. Am I, though? The woman I abandoned 15 years ago is now my potential business partner. How exactly does one not overthink that situation? Thomas squeezed his shoulder. By remembering that she chose to be here, she could have sent an associate. She could have declined the project entirely. But she's coming herself. That means something. Before Benjamin could respond, Rachel's voice came through the intercom. Mr. Sterling, Ms. Morrison, and her team have arrived. Benjamin's heart hammered against his ribs. He set down his coffee cup before his shaking hands could spill it. Thomas moved to stand beside him, a silent show of support. The door opened. The woman she had become, Olivia Morrison, walked into the conference room. Benjamin forgot how to breathe. She was beautiful. She had always been beautiful, but 15. Years had transformed the girl he remembered into a woman who commanded attention without trying. Her dark hair fell in soft waves past her shoulders. She wore a navy business suit that spoke of success and confidence. But it was her eyes that held him captive. Those same warm brown eyes he had loved, now holding depths of experience and strength he hadn't seen before. Behind her came 2 associates. A young man carrying presentation materials, and a woman with a tablet, but Benjamin barely registered them. His entire focus was on Olivia. She met his gaze directly, no hesitation, no flinching. If she felt any emotion at seeing him again, her face didn't reveal it. She was composed, professional, completely in control. Benjamin, she said, extending her hand. Thank you for agreeing to meet. Her hand was warm in his, the touch sending electricity through his entire body. He held it a moment too long before remembering himself and letting go. Olivia, thank you for coming. This is Thomas Reed, my business partner and chief operations officer. Thomas shook hands with Olivia, his expression carefully neutral, though Benjamin knew his friend was assessing her with sharp eyes, looking for any sign that might indicate her true feelings. Mr. Reed, I've read about your work with Sterling Technologies. Your operational strategies are impressive. Please, call me Thomas, and thank you. I understand your firm has similar success with organizational efficiency. Olivia smiled, and Benjamin felt his chest tighten. That smile had once been his. Now it was offered politely to a stranger during a business meeting. The presentation began. Olivia and her team outlined their approach to the Boston expansion with precision and creativity. She spoke about market analysis, logistical challenges, timeline projections, all with the confidence of someone who knew her field intimately. Benjamin tried to focus on the information, but kept finding himself distracted by small details about her, the way she gestured when making a point, the slight tilt of her head when considering a question, the competence radiating from every word and movement. This was a woman who had built something remarkable from nothing, who had survived heartbreak and emerged stronger. The crack in the armor halfway through the presentation. Thomas asked about Morrison's strategic solutions previous projects. Olivia pulled up case studies on the screen, walking them through challenges and solutions with practiced ease. Then she mentioned something that made Benjamin sit up straighter. My son actually suggested the innovative approach we used for the Chicago project. Nathan has a gift for seeing problems from unexpected angles. Your son. The words echoed in Benjamin's mind. Olivia had a son. Of course she did. 15 years was a lifetime. She had moved on, built a family, created a life that had nothing to do with him. The realization hurt more than Benjamin expected. He had no right to feel jealous or hurt, but emotions didn't follow logic. How old is your son? Thomas asked casually. Though Benjamin caught the sharp look, his friend shot him. 14. He'll be 15 in April. 14. Benjamin's mind calculated dates automatically. 15 years since he left. 14 years old? The math created possibilities he didn't dare consider. Olivia must have seen something in his face, because her expression hardened slightly. Nathan is brilliant with strategy and problem solving. He's been my inspiration for building the firm into what it is today. The rest of the presentation passed in a blur. Benjamin heard himself asking appropriate questions, making relevant comments, but his thoughts were spinning. A son. 14 years old. Was it possible? Could Nathan be his child? When the presentation concluded, Olivia's associates began packing up materials. Benjamin stood, unable to let her leave without knowing more. Olivia, could we speak privately for a moment? She hesitated, her professional mask slipping slightly. For just a second, Benjamin saw vulnerability in her eyes. Uncertainty, maybe even fear. I'm not sure that's a good idea. Please. Just 5 minutes. Thomas smoothly guided Olivia's associates out of the room, leaving Benjamin and Olivia alone. The silence stretched between them, heavy with 15 years of unspoken words. The truth. Unveiled, Benjamin moved closer, careful not to invade her space, but needing to see her face clearly. Your son, Nathan? When is his birthday? Olivia's jaw tightened. That's not a business question. No, it's not. But I need to know. Please, Liv. Don't call me that. Her voice cracked slightly. You lost the right to call me that when you walked away. I know. I have no rights where you're concerned. But if there's even a chance that Nathan is my son, I deserve to know. Olivia turned away from him, her shoulders rigid. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. April 7th. He was born on April 7th, exactly 9 months after you left. The confirmation hit Benjamin like a physical blow. He had a son. A 14-year-old son he knew nothing about. All those years, all those missed moments, birthdays and first days of school and bedtime stories, gone. Lost forever because he had chosen ambition over love. Why didn't you tell me? His voice came out rough with emotion. Olivia whirled to face him. Now all the emotions she had been hiding blazed in her eyes. Anger, hurt, years of carrying a burden alone, tell ya. I tried, Benjamin. I called you 3 weeks after you left. Do you know what your assistant said? That you were too busy building your company to take personal calls. That if it wasn't business-related, I should stop contacting you. So I stopped. I raised our son alone while you built your empire and forgot we existed. I never forgot you, Benjamin said desperately. Not once in 15 years did I forget you, but you never came back. You never checked on me? You made your choice and I made mine. I chose to protect Nathan from a father who valued money over family. I chose to build a life where we didn't need you. The words were meant to hurt, and they did. Benjamin felt each one like a knife to the chest. But beneath the anger, he heard something else. Pain. The same pain he had carried for 15 years. I was wrong, he said simply. I was young and stupid and convinced that success was the only thing that mattered. I threw away the most precious thing I had. I know saying sorry doesn't change anything, doesn't give back the years I stole from both of you. But I am sorry, Liv. More sorry than words can express. Olivia's eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. I don't want your apologies, Benjamin. I want nothing from you except a professional relationship for the duration of this project. Nathan doesn't know who his father is. He thinks you didn't want him. I'm not ready to change that belief because I don't know if you deserve to be in his life. Let me prove I've changed. Let me show you I'm not the selfish boy who walked away. Why should I risk that? Why should I let you into our lives just so you can leave again when things get difficult? Benjamin had no answer that would satisfy her. Words were cheap. Only actions would prove whether he had truly become a better man. Work with me on this project, he said finally. Let me show you through my actions, not my words. And when it's done, if you still think I don't deserve to know my son, I'll respect that decision. Olivia studied his face for a long moment, searching for something. Sincerity, maybe, or proof that he was worth the risk. Finally, she nodded slowly. One project. Strictly professional. You prove yourself through work, through character, through the man you've become. And Benjamin, if you hurt him, if you disappoint that boy the way you disappointed me, I will make sure you regret it for the rest of your life. I understand. She moved toward the door, then paused. For what it's worth, Nathan is everything good I could have hoped for. He's kind and brilliant and sees the world with wonder. He got none of that from you. He got it from choosing every day to be better than the example you set. The door closed behind her, leaving Benjamin alone with the weight of his failures and the fragile possibility of redemption. The Boston expansion project became Benjamin's obsession, but not for the reasons everyone assumed. While his board saw it as another business triumph waiting to happen, Benjamin saw it as his only chance to prove he had become someone worthy of a second opportunity. Over the next 3 months, he worked alongside Olivia with careful respect for the boundaries she had established. Their meetings were professional, focused entirely on project details and strategic decisions. But Benjamin paid attention to everything. The way she approached problems with creativity and compassion. How she treated her team with genuine respect. The dedication she brought to every task. He also learned about Nathan through careful questions that Olivia sometimes answered and sometimes deflected. His son played chess competitively. He volunteered at an animal shelter every Saturday. He loved science fiction novels and wanted to study engineering. Each detail was a treasure Benjamin stored carefully in his heart. Building a picture of the child he had never known, Thomas watched this transformation with quiet approval. One evening, as they reviewed contracts in Benjamin's office, his friend finally spoke what had been on his mind for weeks. You're different with her. More human. The Benjamin I knew in college is starting to show through again. Benjamin looked up from the documents, surprised. What do you mean? You used to care about people, about making a difference beyond profit margins? Then after you left Olivia, you turned yourself into a machine. Efficient, successful, but empty. Now, I see glimpses of who you were before ambition consumed you.
Ow.
The observation struck deep. Benjamin had spent 15 years building walls around his heart, convinced that emotions were weaknesses that would slow his rise to the top. Olivia's return had begun demolishing those walls brick by brick. I wasted so much time, Benjamin said quietly, chasing success while the things that actually mattered slipped through my fingers. Then don't waste more time. Show her the man you're becoming, not just through business, but through character. The unexpected encounter. Benjamin's opportunity came unexpectedly on a rainy Thursday afternoon. He had left the office early for once, taking Thomas's advice about finding balance beyond work. He stopped at a small bookstore near his apartment. Seeking the latest science fiction novel everyone was discussing, that's when he saw the teenager browsing the engineering section. The boy was tall for 14, with Olivia's dark hair and eyes, but something in the shape of his face that Benjamin recognized from his own childhood photographs. Nathan, his son, standing 10 feet away, completely unaware that his father was watching him. Benjamin's heart hammered. This was wrong. He should leave, should honor Olivia's boundaries, but his feet wouldn't move. He stood frozen, drinking in every detail of the child he had never held. Never read bedtime stories too. Never taught to ride a bicycle or tie a shoe. Nathan pulled a book from the shelf, flipping through pages with obvious interest. Then he glanced up and caught Benjamin staring. Instead of looking away or leaving, the boy smiled politely. "Sorry, did you need this section?" "I'm almost done." Benjamin's throat closed. His son was speaking to him, actually speaking to him for the first time. "Now take your time." "Are you interested in engineering?" Nathan's face brightened with enthusiasm. "Yes, sir. I want to design sustainable buildings someday. Structures that work with the environment instead of against it." The words pierced Benjamin's heart. Architecture. Olivia had dreamed of architecture once, before he had convinced her to put those dreams aside to support his ambitions. Now their son carried that same passion. It's ambitious. Good ambitious, I mean. The world needs people who think about sustainability.
Nice.
My mom always says we should build things that make the world better, not just bigger. Nathan hesitated, then extended his hand. "I'm Nathan Morrison." Benjamin shook his son's hand, feeling the firm grip, the confidence. Benjamin Sterling. Recognition flickered in Nathan's eyes. "Wait, Sterling Technologies? My mom works with you on the Boston project. She talks about it sometimes. She does." Benjamin couldn't help asking, "What does she say?" Nathan shrugged with teenage casualness. "That you're demanding, but fair. That you actually listen to ideas even from junior team members. She respects that." Such simple words, but they meant everything. Olivia respected him. After everything, despite everything, she respected the man he was trying to become. "Your mother is brilliant," Benjamin said honestly. "This project wouldn't succeed without her vision." "She's amazing," Nathan agreed with obvious pride. "She built her whole company from nothing, raised me on her own, never complained about how hard things were. She's my hero." On her own? The words were a gentle rebuke, a reminder of all the years Benjamin had been absent. But Nathan said it without bitterness, simply stating facts. "You're lucky to have her," Benjamin managed. "I know. Some kids have 2 parents, but honestly, my mom is worth 10 regular parents. She never missed a single chess tournament or school event. She's always there." The conversation was torture and treasure simultaneously. Benjamin wanted to tell this remarkable boy the truth, wanted to claim his place as Nathan's father. But he had no right. Not yet. Maybe not ever. That was Olivia's decision to make. They talked for another 10 minutes, about books and engineering and the future Nathan envisioned. Then the boy glanced at his phone and grimaced. "I need to go. Mom's expecting me home." "It was nice talking to you, Mr. Sterling." "You too, Nathan." "Very nice." Benjamin watched his son leave the bookstore, then sank into a nearby chair, trembling. That brief encounter had shattered something inside him, broken through the last defenses around his heart. He had a son. A remarkable, kind, brilliant son who had grown up without him and turned out better than Benjamin probably deserved. That night, Benjamin did something he hadn't done in 15 years. He went to Olivia's office unannounced, waited in the lobby until her assistant said she could see him, and walked into her workspace with his heart in his hands. Olivia looked up from her computer, surprise and wariness crossing her face. "Benjamin, we don't have a meeting scheduled." "I know. I need to tell you something, and it can't wait." She gestured to the chair across from her desk. Benjamin sat, gathering his thoughts, knowing the next words would determine everything. "I met Nathan today, by accident, at a bookstore. We talked for maybe 10 minutes. He had no idea who I was." Olivia's expression shifted through several emotions. Shock, anger, fear, all flickering across her face. "You approached my son without telling me?" "No, he approached me. I was going to leave, but he started talking and I couldn't walk away. Liv, he's incredible. Brilliant and kind and everything good. You raised an amazing human being." "Alone," Olivia said sharply. "I raised him alone, I know. And that's why I'm here. I've spent 3 months trying to prove through business that I've changed. But business isn't what matters. What matters is this." Benjamin leaned forward, his voice thick with emotion. "I can't give back the years I stole from both of you. I can't undo the choice I made or erase the pain I caused. But I can choose differently now. I can be the father Nathan deserves And the partner you should have had 15 years ago. Olivia's eyes filled with tears. You think showing up now erases everything? That a few months of good behavior makes you worthy of being in his life? No, I think it's a beginning. I think maybe if you'll let me, I can spend the rest of my life proving that love matters more than success. That family is worth more than any empire. That the boy who walked away 15 years ago has finally grown into a man who understands what he lost. And if Nathan rejects you, if he wants nothing to do with a father who abandoned him, then I'll accept that pain as the consequence of my choices. But I'm asking you, live for the chance to try. Not because I deserve it, but because Nathan deserves to make that choice for himself. Olivia was quiet for a long time, tears streaming down her face. Finally, she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm terrified of letting you in and watching you leave again. I survived your abandonment once. Nathan hasn't had to survive it yet. If you're not absolutely certain, if there's any chance you'll put your career first again, walk away now, please. Benjamin stood and moved around the desk, kneeling beside Olivia's chair so they were eye to eye. I am absolutely certain. The empire I built means nothing without you and Nathan in it. I choose you. I choose him. I choose us. Today, tomorrow, and every day after. That's my promise. Olivia searched his face, looking for truth, for certainty, for proof that this time would be different. Whatever she saw must have satisfied her because she finally nodded. One dinner. The three of us. You tell Nathan the truth, and we see how he reacts. After that, we take things one day at a time. No promises beyond honesty. Can you accept that? Yes, thank you, Liv. Thank you for this chance. She reached out and touched his face gently. The first tender gesture she had offered in 15 years. Don't make me regret this, Benjamin. Don't break his heart the way you broke mine. I won't. Swear on everything I am, I won't. That dinner happened 3 days later, in Olivia's modest but warm apartment. Nathan's confusion when Benjamin arrived turned to shock when Olivia gently explained the truth. Benjamin watched his son process the information, saw the hurt and anger and confusion play across his young face. You left? Nathan finally asked, his voice small. You left before I was even born. Yes, Benjamin answered honestly. I made the worst choice of my life. I chose my career over your mother, over you, over everything that actually mattered. I was wrong, Nathan. Completely, absolutely wrong. Why should I believe you won't leave again? It was the same question Olivia had asked. The question Benjamin would probably spend years answering through actions rather than words. Because I finally understand that success without family is just expensive loneliness. Because meeting you, talking with you, seeing the remarkable person you've become, showed me what I've been missing. I can't give you back the years we lost, son. But if you'll let me, I'd like to be part of your future. Nathan looked at his mother, seeking guidance. Olivia smiled through tears and squeezed his hand. It's your choice, sweetheart. Whatever you decide, I support you. The teenager studied Benjamin for a long moment, then said something that would become the foundation of everything that followed. Okay, but you have to prove it. Not with money or gifts. With time and showing up and actually being there. Can you do that? Yes, Benjamin promised. I can do that. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. Trust had to be rebuilt slowly, carefully, through countless small moments of reliability and presence. But Benjamin embraced that challenge with the same determination he had once applied to building his empire. The difference was this time. He was building something that actually mattered. A family, a future, a love he should never have abandoned. And when Nathan finally called him Dad 6 months later, Benjamin understood that this success, this victory, was worth more than every business triumph combined. The end.